They cannot afford that home.
Quietly putting it out into the real estate world that really they want to get rid of this mansion.
They're not being slick. We see what they're doing. So Harry has left. He's leaving California to be more of a working royal.
Montecito was supposed to be Meghan Markle and Prince Harry's victory lap. The palm trees, the privacy, the giant mansion, the celebrity neighbors. This was the place where they were meant to prove they had escaped the royal family and built something bigger. But now, the picture looks very different.
So is it really a coincidence that as Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are quietly trying to hawk their Montecito home without putting it on the market and going through the embarrassment of having to do that, we learned Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, two of their sworn Hollywood enemies, could be looking to buy in the area.
Because while whispers keep circling around the future of the Sussex mansion, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are reportedly looking at Montecito property of their own, and the timing could not be more brutal. Think about the optics. Meghan spent years trying to turn Montecito into the headquarters of her new American life.
This word, I think, could sum up quite a lot of what the Sussexes are currently going through. Unsussexful. You get it?
Now one of the biggest stars on the planet may be looking at the same neighborhood just as questions keep building over whether Harry and Meghan will even stay there long term. That is not a cute celebrity neighbor story. That is a power shift. Taylor and Travis are newlyweds, married on July 3, and that makes the house hunt more interesting. They are not simply looking for another celebrity crash pad.
Taylor's in her mid-30s. She's always wanted to be a mom. They are looking for a place where they can raise their family, have kids, and good schools all around. And, Montecito does fit that bill. It is private. A lot of billionaires are there. Security is always around. If it's not yours, it's someone else's. And no high crime rate. The schools are excellent. So I could see why they would want to move there.
Reports around their post-wedding plans have described them trying to build a shared life rather than just bouncing between homes that belong to Taylor first or Travis first. They have money, options, security concerns, and every reason to want privacy. Montecito offers exactly that. Huge estates hidden behind gates, quiet roads, ocean views, wealth everywhere. Oprah Winfrey already lives there. The area has become one of California's most famous celebrity enclaves. So on paper, Taylor and Travis, considering it makes perfect sense,
trying to sort of suggest, oh, look, our kitchen has been updated, even though nothing has really changed. And Nancy Sidley pointing out, my girl Restine Dollface was right. Why would this be in a Realtor magazine? And there is the headline on Realtor.com. Meghan Markle starts her 45th birthday with a pajama party around the kitchen of $14.7 million Montecito mansion. I mean, there's no way that they need to write about it on a website like that, P. Diner, unless the house is going to be coming up for sale.
And because they are apparently browsing rather than being tied to one public listing, there is room for the story to move fast if the right property appears. But this is where it gets deliciously awkward for Meghan. Because Taylor Swift is not just another famous person who could end up living a few minutes away. Taylor is someone Meghan has tried to pull into her orbit before, and it never became the relationship Meghan appeared to want.
There certainly wouldn't be any little as-ever barbecues between those two couples.
Before we continue, I want to mention something really quick. Organizing your family's important information is one of those things most of us know we should do, but we keep putting it off. That's exactly why there's the Family Vault. It gives you one place to organize your important documents, insurance, medical information, passwords, and more, so everything is easy to find when it's needed. You'll find the link in the description, or you can scan the QR code on your screen. That's all. Now let's get back to today's story.
And now Taylor may not need Meghan for a single thing. Not an introduction, not a dinner, not a party, not a royal connection, nothing.
The good news is Lily and Archie are too old to ever go to school with their children, so they wouldn't have to run into each other at, I don't know, a bake sale or a PTA event.
The funniest part is that Taylor is not even new to the Montecito scene. She has already spent time in the area. When Selena Gomez married Benny Blanco, Taylor reportedly stayed at the Rosewood Miramar in Montecito during the wedding weekend. She arrived for one of the most private celebrity events of the year and experienced exactly what wealthy people buy in that part of California: discretion.
Even if Taylor and Travis move to Montecito, they still won't give Harry and Meghan the time of day. And Harry and Meghan spare, arguing, please don't insult Taylor and Travis by associating them in any way with the two grifters. Thank you.
Back when Meghan had her Spotify podcast Archetypes, Taylor Swift was one of the names she wanted. Meghan did not send some generic booking request. She reportedly wrote Taylor a personal handwritten invitation. That is a very deliberate move.
Remember, Meghan, and this is when she was still big enough to attract some stars, was so desperate to get Taylor Swift on the Archetypes podcast. She wrote her that handwritten missive, and Taylor, when she makes a decision and she is loyal to someone, she sticks by it. But I think more than that, she was just so disgusted about why you would turn on your own blood relatives in the way that these two did. I mean, Taylor is very, very much a family woman through and through.
Meghan had already landed major guests: Serena Williams, Mariah Carey, Paris Hilton, big names. But Taylor was different. Taylor was cultural power on another level. And Taylor said no. Not personally. Not with a friendly appearance squeezed into the schedule. The invitation was declined through a representative. That is what makes the episode sting.
They will also not be showing up at any parties that the Sussexes are at. And by that, I mean the Kelseys will not be hanging out at parties. I mean, if they were, you and I both know that somebody with her selfie stick would run up to Taylor and be like, just a quick one, click, and then post it the next day. And that's not going to happen.
No, they are not going to allow themselves to be anywhere near.
Meghan was not asking an unknown actress to help launch a tiny podcast. Archetypes already had Spotify money, press attention, and famous guests. Meghan was a duchess with global name recognition. On paper, she had every piece of leverage needed to get a yes from another celebrity. Taylor still passed. And there was no public feud afterwards. No dramatic war of words. No Taylor interview trashing Meghan. In some ways, that makes it sharper. The door simply did not open.
Meghan attended a Taylor Swift concert and very desperately wanted to go backstage to say hello. And she was rebuffed with the note saying Taylor just rests her voice before every
And that so
concert.
isn't true. That so isn't true. Because if there's a celebrity that Taylor wants to look after, she will see them.
For somebody building a brand around access, influence, and powerful female conversations, silence can be louder than a public rejection. That detail matters because Meghan clearly made an effort to make the request feel personal. A handwritten letter says, "I am not treating you like another booking. I want you." And the answer was still no. Then came the Eras Tour. Meghan attended Taylor's Los Angeles show and was seen enjoying herself. Again, nothing strange about that. Millions of people wanted to be at that tour. But there was also a reported attempt to get backstage and say hello, and that reportedly went nowhere.
Then, of course, she runs to Beyonce and goes backstage behind Beyonce in a couple months later. And you're just like, oh, okay. But, and where's Beyonce now? She's filing her nails in the corner, just trying to pretend she doesn't see Meghan.
And a few months later, Meghan was publicly linked with a very different superstar backstage moment around Beyonce. That only made the Taylor contrast more noticeable. Meghan could be seen enjoying major celebrity spaces, but the Taylor connection still never materialized into a visible friendship. The explanation given was that Taylor rested her voice before performances. Maybe that was exactly what happened. Maybe it was simply scheduling.
I mean, it's so many things that are going wrong. And it's like the more they try to say or to put out there, the worse it is. It just seems like who are the people in her circle that are putting all of this out there? I mean, don't they know that we are on to her? Like, we get it. Nothing is working. Like, what has worked for them, Dan? What?
Well,
Nothing.
But the story became memorable for one reason. Meghan wanted access to Taylor. And once again, there was no big public Taylor-Meghan moment to show for it. And this is where the contrast gets savage. Because when Taylor has wanted to have a public royal moment, she has had one, just not with Meghan.
I think trying to link Prince Harry and Meghan Markle to Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift is ludicrous. I mean, Taylor and Travis have absolutely picked a side, right?
Taylor's connection with Prince William goes back years. Long before the Sussex drama, William famously got on stage with Taylor Swift and Jon Bon Jovi at a charity event in 2013. It was light, funny, and completely unforced. Nobody had to manufacture a royal connection after the fact. It already existed. Then in 2024, William took Prince George and Princess Charlotte to Taylor's Eras Tour in London. They went backstage. They met Taylor. Travis Kelce was there too. Photos came out. Smiles everywhere.
Considering real estate in Montecito, I mean, it is clearly nothing to do with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. These two are out and out now on Team Prince William and Catherine.
William looked relaxed. George and Charlotte looked thrilled. Taylor looked completely comfortable with them, and it did not stop there. In May this year, Taylor and Travis reportedly met privately with William and Catherine in London ahead of Taylor and Travis's wedding. That takes this beyond one cute backstage photograph. William and Catherine were not random concert guests standing in a queue for a quick hello. The relationship had enough warmth for another private meeting. That is the royal connection Taylor actually built. So picture the absurdity if Taylor and Travis end up in Montecito.
It makes a lot of sense that, they're just trying to put it out there because I think a lot of people already know about it. I think it's been circulating for a while now. And yeah, clearly she is trying to get it out there that, things are improving with the home or whatever. Like, people may or may not be interested in it. I don't know. I just think, Meghan is in a world of hurt around a lot of things. And this is just another example of something that she's, trying to, get out of in terms of the debt that they're in, and they cannot afford that home.
Living behind the same gates does not mean sharing dinners. It does not mean invitations. It does not mean selfies. It definitely does not mean Taylor Swift suddenly appears in a Meghan Markle lifestyle post holding a jar of jam. That is why this story cuts deeper than a normal property rumor. Taylor represents exactly the kind of A-list validation Meghan has been chasing since arriving in California. Yet the biggest visible royal connection around Taylor has not been Meghan. It has been the Wales family. And while all of that is happening in California, Harry appears to be turning in the opposite direction.
Now, it is not what you think, but it is what you think, if you know what I mean.
This is where the Montecito story becomes much bigger. Harry is now reportedly planning to return to Britain every few months over the next year. Not one emergency visit, not one court appearance, not one quick in-and-out trip, regular visits. More time in the country he spent years insisting was too difficult to navigate under his security arrangements.
Back and forth, spending time away from your family, that tells me there's a problem in the marriage. Because if your wife is not trying to do these things with you, then you two have agreed that I'm going to split my time in the UK and I'm going to be here in America when I need to be, but really I'm going to be in the UK getting my foot back into my royal role. Now that's what it sounds like to me. And watch it start to happen. Watch.
More time with family, more time with the British charities and patronages that still give him a public role there. That is a major change in rhythm. The plan reportedly includes another UK visit in September for roughly a week. And the broader idea is that Harry wants a stronger foothold in Britain again. He wants to see family more often. He wants more face-to-face involvement with the organizations he still supports, including Well Child and other long-standing British causes that existed before Meghan, before Montecito, and before the Netflix era.
According to the Times, Harry now wants to visit the United Kingdom every few months. Now, the official explanation is perfectly respectable because he wants to see his family more often and provide greater support to Britain charities.
And after his recent time with King Charles, Harry was described as energized by the reunion. That word matters. Energized. Not tolerated, not dragged back, not desperate to get on the first flight home, energized. It suggests that whatever Harry thinks of the institution, Britain still gives him something California cannot manufacture: a sense of place, history, and relevance that does not have to be invented by a branding team.
Harry being in America makes absolutely no sense. The man is a prince from the United Kingdom. What's his butt doing over here in America playing Disneyland? I've always said this, people. He's got no value in America as a prince.
Read that again. Energized by being back with the family. That is a long way from the image of a man desperate to escape. For years, California was sold as freedom. Britain was the place Harry said came with pressure, intrusion, resentment, and danger. Montecito was the answer. Now the man who made a very public exit appears to be building a schedule that repeatedly pulls him back across the Atlantic.
Because after years of interviews, accusations, court battles, and a lot of public criticism of the royal institution, walking straight back through the palace gates would be almost impossible, because we've been watching and following this whole thing. The public backlash would be immediate.
No, Buckingham Palace has not announced that Harry is returning as a working royal. No, there is no official half-in, half-out deal sitting on a desk waiting for a signature. But that is exactly why the strategy is interesting. A formal royal comeback would cause an explosion. Regular visits are different. One trip, one charity appearance, one private family meeting, one photograph, then another trip a few months later. You do not have to announce a comeback if you can slowly make somebody's presence feel normal again.
Frequent visits would achieve much more than a few charity meetings. It would. They would allow Harry to rebuild his public profile in Britain, repair damaged family relationships, and slowly reinsert himself into royal life without ever having to announce a formal comeback.
That is the entire slow-motion restoration theory. Harry does not need to walk onto a palace balcony tomorrow. He does not need a new title. He does not need a press release saying, "I am back." He simply needs to be seen in Britain more often, around respectable causes, around his father when possible, and eventually the image changes from exiled prince visiting home to prince who is always around. That would be a remarkable reversal from 2020.
But returning quietly every few months, attending respected charity events, being photographed, supporting sick children and wounded veterans, spending private time with the king, just the king, I mean, like the top of the echelon right now, that is a much easier image to sell.
Harry and Meghan originally wanted the freedom to step back while still keeping one foot inside royal life. In January 2020, they proposed a new arrangement that would let them step away from senior duties, become financially independent, and split their time. The final deal did not give them the hybrid royal role they had imagined. Queen Elizabeth rejected the half-in, half-out model.
Going to start seeing him show up to more family events. Like Harry will be there without Meghan. So he's trying to integrate slowly back into the royal family and spending less time in California, but still saying officially he's in California.
You could not commercially exploit royal status while dipping back into official royal duties whenever it suited you. That decision was supposed to create a clean line. Working royals on one side, Harry and Meghan building their independent life on the other. But 6 years later, the line looks less clean if Harry is regularly flying back, reconnecting with family, and rebuilding a public British schedule while still technically living in California.
Give him a little bit more room and access to being within the royal fold slowly but surely, and then before you know it, he's like back pretty much as a working royal.
But what if Harry creates a softer version without ever calling it that? He lives in California, but he is in Britain every few months. He is not a working royal, but he keeps a visible public role through long-standing British causes. He is not formally back inside the institution, but he rebuilds contact with the king. He is not announcing a royal restoration, but he slowly rebuilds the royal part of his identity. That is far more realistic than some dramatic palace surrender.
We've seen him go back for the Invictus Games for Birmingham. Now we're going to see him go back in September, where he's going to be staying at Buckingham Palace. They're doing all these little short stints to try to get the public used to seeing Harry back as a working royal within the fold of royalty. They're not being slick. We see what they're doing, okay?
And it raises an obvious question about Meghan. How much of this British chapter is hers? So far, the frequent return story is centered on Harry. There is no clear sign that Meghan plans to mirror his schedule and start rebuilding a life in Britain beside him. That does not prove some secret separation. It does not prove divorce. But it absolutely creates a new visual.
That's not what Meghan is looking to do. I think at some point she may have to do it, because Hollywood has given up on her. She doesn't have enough talent. She doesn't have enough je ne sais quoi to make it work in California. She just doesn't.
Harry increasingly facing east, while Meghan's brand, business, and social ambitions remain planted in California. That visual matters, because if Harry starts spending more time in Britain, suddenly Montecito becomes less obviously the center of his life. It may still be his home, his family may still live there, but his identity has always been most valuable in the UK.
So Harry has left. He's leaving California to be more of a working royal. He hasn't completely left California, but that is what he is looking to do more often.
In America, he is a famous prince. In Britain, he is the king's son, the brother of the future king, and a man whose entire public history is tied to the monarchy. California gave him distance from that identity. Britain gives it back. And after years of trying to build a totally separate Sussex universe, Harry may be discovering that the royal connection was not baggage he could simply throw away. It was the thing that made the world pay attention in the first place.
We've seen him go back for the Invictus Games for Birmingham. Now we're going to see him go back in September, where he's going to be staying at Buckingham Palace. They're doing all these little short stints to try to get the public used to seeing Harry back as a working royal within the fold of royalty. They're not being slick. We see what they're doing, okay?
That is why the timing around Montecito is so fascinating. On one side, you have Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce reportedly looking at the neighborhood as newlyweds building their future. Taylor arrives with enormous cultural power, a global fan base, established friendships, and a friendly history with William and Catherine. She does not need Montecito to make her important. Montecito simply suits the life she already has. On the other side, you have Harry and Meghan, whose mansion became a monument to their decision to leave royal life behind, while talk about the property's future keeps resurfacing, and Harry now plans more and more time back in Britain. That is the real battle for Montecito.
It's looking more like Harry's goal and less of Meghan's goal. That could change, but I'm not so sure it will.
Before we continue, one quick thing. One thing I've realized is that most families don't have their important information organized in one place. That's exactly why I recommend the Family Vault, a simple printable and fillable organizer where you can keep everything from important documents and insurance to medical information, passwords. You'll find the link in the description, or you can simply scan the QR code on your screen. Now let's get back to today's story.
Now imagine the contrast if Taylor and Travis actually bought there. The Sussexes arrived in California selling the idea that they were entering the top level of American celebrity. Taylor would be arriving as the top level of American celebrity. No reinvention required, no royal title required, no carefully staged lifestyle rollout required. She would simply show up as Taylor Swift. And meanwhile, the questions around the Sussex mansion refused to disappear. There has been repeated talk that the Montecito property could eventually be sold, or that Harry and Meghan may be quietly testing what interest exists around it.
California may offer a lot of freedom, access to A-listers when they're willing, which is less so now, different commercial opportunities. But Britain is where his royal identity carries the greatest weight.
Nothing about that needs to be officially announced for it to become a story. Luxury homes at that level are often discussed privately long before the public ever sees a listing. And that is exactly why the timing of this Taylor story is so potent. One couple may be eyeing a move in while the other couple's future there keeps being questioned. For Harry and Meghan, that mansion has always been more than a house. It became a symbol. It was the background to the post-palace fantasy. California freedom, celebrity friends, streaming deals, private gardens, chickens, homegrown produce, poolside living, all of it. The message was clear, this was their kingdom now. But kingdoms look very different when somebody much more famous moves next door. And if Taylor did settle in Montecito, there is no reason to assume Meghan would suddenly be inside her social circle.
Meghan Markle is trying to sell the house, but do so on the quiet. Like, she can't just put it on the market because imagine.
Meghan could theoretically have Taylor Swift living practically down the road, while Taylor's more natural royal friendship sits thousands of miles away with William and Catherine. Distance would not be the problem, access would. And Meghan knows better than almost anyone that proximity does not equal friendship. Montecito is full of rich and famous people. It is not two couples screaming across hedges. It is not Taylor trying to steal Meghan's zip code. It is the brutal comparison created by the timing. Taylor and Travis may be moving toward Montecito just as Harry appears to be moving emotionally and professionally back toward Britain. And Meghan is stuck in the middle of the most uncomfortable contrast possible.
A change without official announcements, but I'm going to be doing more and more with my royal family. That's what he's looking to do. Trying to be slick about it because that's what the royal family does.
The superstar she once personally tried to bring into her podcast world could become a neighbor. That superstar publicly built an easier relationship with William and his family. And Meghan's own husband is now preparing to spend more time around the country and institutions they once walked away from. So what exactly is Montecito now? Is it still the permanent Sussex base? Is it Meghan's California fortress? Is it simply an extremely expensive house attached to a chapter that no longer looks as triumphant as it did 5 years ago? Because the story has changed. Back then, Harry and Meghan were leaving Britain for California. Now Taylor Swift may be looking at Montecito, and Harry is looking back at Britain. That is one hell of a reversal.